All right, the last part of this section deals with solving by factoring. So to be able to solve by factoring, we're using something called the zero product property. And this says for any real numbers a and b, if a times b equals 0, then either a equals 0, b equals 0, or both equal 0. So we're going to use this property to solve by factoring. And remember, a solution are the zeros, or the roots of our function, which are the x-intercepts. So our factored form is going to help us identify the zeros without having to graph. So if we're trying to find the x-intercepts of a graph, that means that we should do the factoring method, and that's going to help us find those x-intercepts, which in turn then are the zeros of our functions, which represent the solutions. So we're going to start by factoring, and we use whatever method that we've discussed, so whichever method works for the problem. And then once we have it factored, we're going to apply this zero product property to finish solving the problem. So looking at this, my a is 1, and I have 3 terms, so that means that I am looking for 2 numbers that multiply to be the last term and add to be the middle term. Okay, so this will be x and x. And then since I'm multiplying to be a negative, I'm going to have a positive and a negative number. And we would want to choose positive 5 and negative 1. So again, positive 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. Positive 5 plus negative 1 is positive 4. Okay. So now I'm going to take each group and set it equal to 0. So x plus 5 equals 0. And x minus 1 equals 0, and then I'm just going to solve those linear equations to get my final answer. So we would subtract the 5 over. So our first answer will be x equals negative 5. And then on the second one, we have to add the 1, so we're going to get x equals positive 1. So we can leave it either as 2 separate answers like this, or if we write them together, it's going to be x equals negative 5, comma 1. And this would be our final answer for that problem.